The simulation hypothesis. Are we living in a computer-driven reality? In the age of rapid technological advancement, the line between reality and simulation is becoming increasingly blurred. One of the most provocative ideas that has emerged from this intersection of technology and philosophy is the simulation hypothesis. This hypothesis suggests that our entire existence, everything we see, feel, and experience, might be nothing more than a highly sophisticated computer-generated simulation. The implications of this idea are profound, forcing us to reconsider the nature of reality, consciousness, and the potential future of advanced civilizations. The simulation argument finds its roots in the early 1990s with the work of roboticist Hans Moravec. In his 1992 essay, Pigs in Cyberspace, Moravec proposed that technology could one day advance to the point where it would be possible to create simulations that perfectly mimic our reality. He suggested that as the capability to simulate human-like experiences grows, it becomes statistically more likely that we are living in a simulation rather than the original version of the universe. This idea was further developed by philosopher Nick Bostrom in his 2003 paper, Are You Living in a Computer Simulation? Bostrom provided a more formal and mathematical framework for the argument, positing three possible scenarios regarding the development of advanced civilizations. One of these scenarios suggests that if any civilization reaches a point where it can create detailed ancestor simulations that replicate the lives of their predecessors, then it is likely that we ourselves are living in such a simulation. Prominent figures like Elon Musk have echoed this sentiment in recent years, arguing that as technology continues to advance toward creating hyper-realistic simulations, it becomes increasingly probable that our reality is one of many simulations rather than the base reality. The simulation hypothesis rests on a simple, yet powerful line of reasoning. If technology continues to develop, it is plausible that many civilizations across the universe could create simulations of their own realities. If these simulations are created in large numbers, the odds suggest that any given individual or civilization is more likely to be a part of a simulation than an original reality. To break it down, 1. Proliferation of simulations. Assume that at least 1 in 10 advanced civilizations creates 1,000 simulated populations. 2. Probability of being simulated. If this holds true, then at least 99% of all intelligent beings would likely be simulations. 3. Conclusion. Given these odds, it is statistically more likely that we are living in a simulation than in a base reality. This reasoning hinges on the assumption that advanced civilizations would be both willing and able to create such simulations, which seems increasingly plausible as our own technology advances. While the simulation hypothesis is captivating, it is not without its critics. One of the primary objections concerns the technological feasibility of creating such sophisticated simulations. Skeptics argue that it may never be possible to replicate conscious experiences to the extent required by the hypothesis. They question whether even the most advanced computers could simulate the complex experiences of billions of individuals in real time. Another objection is based on the idea of human exceptionalism. The belief that human experiences and consciousness are unique and cannot be perfectly replicated in a simulated environment. Proponents of this view suggest that even if advanced civilizations create simulations, they may not accurately reflect the reality we experience. Despite these objections, the possibility that we are living in a simulation remains an open question. As technology continues to evolve, the feasibility of creating such simulations may shift from the realm of speculation to reality, making it increasingly difficult to dismiss the simulation hypothesis outright. The simulation hypothesis forces us to confront unsettling questions about the nature of reality and our place within it. While it may seem like a far-fetched idea, the argument that we might be living in a simulation is grounded in plausible assumptions about technological advancement and the proliferation of simulations by advanced civilizations. Next, we must explore the feasibility of such simulations, the objections raised against them, and the broader implications of living in a world where intelligent simulations could outnumber non-simulated beings. The simulation hypothesis suggests that as civilizations advance, some will develop the technology to create highly sophisticated simulations of reality. If even a fraction of these civilizations decide to create such simulations, the number of simulated beings could vastly outnumber those in the base reality. This leads to the unsettling conclusion that it's statistically more likely for any given individual to be part of a simulation rather than a non-simulated reality. Let's break down the argument. 1. Creation of simulations. Imagine that 1 out of every 10 non-simulated, non-sim populations has the technological capability and inclination to create approximately 1,000 simulations. If this scenario holds, the number of simulated beings could far exceed that of non-simulated beings. 2. Technological feasibility. While current technology limits our ability to simulate consciousness and reality on such a grand scale, advancements in quantum computing and artificial intelligence suggest that we may eventually reach the point where simulating intelligent beings is possible. Our brains, for instance, operate at a processing speed that is now within reach of modern supercomputers. As technology continues to improve, it's conceivable that future civilizations could generate simulations of entire populations, each with their own conscious experiences. 3. Computational resources. The universe itself offers vast amounts of potential computational power. Even a small portion of the matter and energy in the universe, if harnessed efficiently, could perform an astronomical number of operations per second, making large-scale simulations feasible. This suggests that creating simulations may be less resource-intensive than we currently imagine. Despite the compelling nature of the simulation hypothesis, several objections challenge its feasibility. These objections, often referred to as sim blockers, propose various barriers to the creation of simulations. 1. Uncomputable processes. Some argue that certain aspects of human consciousness and intelligence are uncomputable, meaning they cannot be replicated by any computational model. However, advancements in quantum computing could potentially overcome these limitations, allowing for the simulation of even the most complex cognitive processes. 2. Existential risks. Another objection posits that civilizations may self-destruct before they can develop the technology to create simulations. While this is a valid concern, it is unlikely that all advanced civilizations would succumb to such risks. Even if only a small percentage survive and develop simulation technology, the potential for widespread simulations remains. 3. Ethical considerations. There is also the possibility that civilizations might choose not to create simulations due to ethical concerns, such as the moral implications of simulating conscious beings. However, the scientific and exploratory benefits of simulations may outweigh these concerns for some civilizations, leading them to pursue simulation technology nonetheless. 4. Practicality. Some skeptics argue that creating physical non-sim populations might be more practical than developing virtual simulations. However, virtual simulations could be far more resource efficient, allowing for the creation of millions of simulated beings with minimal physical resources. If the simulation hypothesis is correct, it has profound implications for our understanding of reality and our place within it. The idea that we might be living in a simulation forces us to reconsider the nature of consciousness, existence, and the ethical responsibilities of advanced civilizations. It also raises questions about the purpose of such simulations. Are they created for scientific exploration, entertainment, or some other unknown reason? Moreover, the possibility that simulations could outnumber non-simulated beings challenges our assumptions about the uniqueness of human experience. If we are indeed simulations, our understanding of the universe and our place within it may be fundamentally different from what we currently believe. As technology continues to advance and our understanding of consciousness deepens, the simulation hypothesis remains a compelling possibility. While many objections have been raised against the feasibility of widespread simulations, no objection seems like a conclusive barrier. An important question is whether any signs or evidence exists that might indicate that we are living in a simulation. While the idea that we are simulations or sims might initially seem speculative, It may be argued that certain characteristics or sim signs could potentially reveal our true nature. By examining these signs, we can explore the possibility that our reality is artificially generated and what it might mean for our understanding of existence. The simulation hypothesis suggests that if simulations are possible and widespread, the majority of intelligent beings might actually be sims rather than inhabitants of the base reality. This raises the question: are there signs that could suggest we are sims? Consider the hypothetical scenario where all sims have a distinct marker, like an inscription that reads, "You are a sim." If such a marker existed and was universally recognized, its absence would be a strong indicator that one is not a sim, a clear non-sim sign. However, since no such obvious markers exist in our reality, at least none that we are aware of, we must look for more subtle signs. These might include glitches in our perceived reality, the interestingness of our lives, and our position within the universe. Let's explore these potential signs in more detail. One possible sim sign is the occurrence of glitches in our reality, anomalies that seem to defy the natural laws of the universe. These could manifest as déjà vu, where an event feels eerily familiar as if it has happened before, or inexplicable patterns that suggest some kind of programming error. For instance, experiencing the same event multiple times in exactly the same way could indicate a repetitive loop within a simulated environment. These glitches, while often dismissed as mere coincidences or quirks of human perception, could be interpreted as evidence that our reality is not as stable or consistent as it appears. If we are indeed living in a simulation, such anomalies might be remnants of imperfections in the coding of our simulated world. Another potential indicator that we are sims is the interestingness of our lives. If simulations are created for the purpose of entertainment, historical study, or other motivations, it stands to reason that the most interesting or significant lives might be more likely to be simulated. If you find yourself living a life filled with extraordinary events, challenges, or accomplishments, this could be a sign that your existence has been intentionally designed to be engaging or instructive for the creators of the simulation. On the other hand, if your life is relatively ordinary, it might suggest that simulations are widespread and cover a broad range of experiences, not just the extraordinary. However, the fact that you are even considering the possibility of being in a simulation might in itself indicate that your life is significant enough to warrant such reflection. The simulation hypothesis also raises questions about our position in the universe. The fact that we have yet to discover intelligent life beyond our planet, and that the universe appears to be in an early stage of development, might suggest that we are living in a first-generation simulation. Early-stage simulations might be easier to create, requiring fewer resources than simulations set in a more developed or advanced universe. This could mean that we are more likely to be sims, living in one of the initial simulations created by an advanced civilization. However, the complexity and scale of our universe present a challenge to the simulation hypothesis. Simulating an entire universe with all its intricate details down to the atomic level would require an immense amount of computational power. While some theorists propose the idea of shortcut simulations, where only certain areas are fully simulated and the rest is merely sketched or rendered at a lower resolution, this still leaves us questioning whether our universe could be such a simulation, given its apparent richness and complexity. One of the most contentious issues in the simulation hypothesis is the role of consciousness. Some argue that consciousness could serve as a non-sim sign, suggesting that if we are conscious, we cannot be mere simulations. This view aligns with the belief that consciousness is inherently tied to biological systems and cannot be replicated in a simulated environment. However, this perspective is not universally accepted. Proponents of the simulation hypothesis argue that consciousness could be substrate-independent, meaning that it could arise in a simulated environment just as it does in a biological one. If this is the case, then the presence of consciousness does not necessarily indicate whether we are sims or non-sims. Additionally, the idea that advanced civilizations might choose not to simulate conscious beings for ethical reasons raises further questions. If simulations are created without consciousness, then our experience of being conscious could suggest that we are non-sims. Conversely, If consciousness is included in simulations, it could mean that our consciousness is simply another aspect of the simulation designed to enhance the realism of the experience. As we explore the possibility that we are living in a simulation, the search for sim signs and non-sim signs becomes a crucial part of the investigation. While certain signs, such as glitches in reality, the interestingness of our lives, and our position in the universe, might suggest that we are sims, other factors, such as the complexity of the universe and the nature of consciousness, complicate the picture.